the term that we're looking at for Kuldeep Singh Sengar, he's already, as Nalini was pointing out, there are two cases at this given point. One is the particular Unnao rape case in itself that's being looked at by the Supreme Court again, but he's already in jail for another particular case, that's the custodial death of the family members of the Unnao rape, of the father of the Unnao rape victim. Right now, so just to get clarity, Anisha, help us understand the term he's serving for the second case already, and if there are two instances that might happen today, that is, A, if the Supreme Court decides to stay on the High Court's order, what happens to his term in the Unnao rape case then? And if the Supreme Court decides not to interfere with the particular verdict that's been given by the High Court, then what happens to the term in the Unnao rape case? I want you to give us a little bit of clarity in all these three instances.
What you're asking us to do is both speculate and look at the legality of it. First of all, as Nalini was saying, he is already serving a 10-year sentence in the Section 304 IPC case, which is because of the custodial death of the victim's father. Secondly, the case against him right now, the one that we are waiting for the hearing to begin for, was the conviction in the rape case, which is why the POCSO Section 5, he's been given life imprisonment for the rape of a child. Now, these are the two cases in which he is convicted. Remember, for our viewers, he is convicted in both of these cases. In one case, he was given 10-year sentence. In the other, he was given life imprisonment. Now, even if you look at the conviction in the rape case, which is where the High Court has said that, well, he served a 7.5-year sentence already, that he should be given some relief because of the long incarceration period. Under POCSO, if you look at the law as it stands, even before the 2019 amendment to the POCSO, even the 2012, the original POCSO Act said minimum 10 years imprisonment that can go up to life imprisonment. Now, what has happened here is that in a lot of cases, what happens is when there is life imprisonment, unless there is an aggravated sentence, life imprisonment can be defined as a minimum of 14 years, 20 years, or life as in the last breath drawn by the convict inside the jail. What courts normally do in cases where the aggravated sentence is not given is that they consider life as 14 years, and therefore they say that, well, you've served about 50% of the sentence, so therefore while your appeal is being heard, we will let you out of jail. We'll hear your appeal whenever we have time to hear your appeal, because you've already served part of your sentence. That is exactly the provision that is now being argued by the CBI, that this is not a case where this kind of benefit should have been given to this man, because one, this is not an ordinary case, this is an aggravated case against a child by a person in authority. Therefore, this relief that is given to persons because they've served a long sentence should not have been given to him. Secondly, what they've said is that he should not be taken as a ordinary person. He should be, in fact, taken as a person in authority who is eligible to get that aggravated sentence. Even before 2019 amendment, the 2012 Act said that the aggravated sentence will be there, which is 20 years in jail minimum, not just 10 years in jail minimum, and therefore he should not be given this benefit. So that is the argument that the CBI will be making. We'll have to see how this entire argument, will begin. We'll see how the argument goes. As of right now, we're still waiting for the argument to begin in the Supreme Court. The court is hearing other matters right now before they take up the Unnao case.
Right.
But it will be very, very interesting to see how this entire argument goes in the court, because the CBI is arguing on a legal issue as well as the issue of the safety of the victim. Because remember, that is also a very, very serious concern. When courts give a judgment, especially when they give a conviction and a sentence, one of the aggravating and mitigating circumstances that the court has to look into is the conduct of the accused, the safety of the victim, and the future conduct, in which is there any possibility that the convict or the accused will affect the victim yet again. Here the CBI is very clearly arguing that despite the fact that this person is in jail, there is still a threat to the victim's there is this threat to the victim's life
Victim's
and
life.
safety.
Right. Victim's life, the victim's family members' lives, Anisha, which is something we've seen through the years at this given point. Let me now go back to Nalini at this point. Nalini, let's also understand one thing. The precedent that this case sets for the rest of the country and the legal system at large. Today, if the Supreme Court ends up staying this particular High Court verdict, that gives us clear message that yes, hope isn't lost for all those protesters who've been coming out on the roads in the national capital for the last couple of days demanding justice for the Unnao rape case victim. But if we do not see a particular order of that kind which stays the High Court verdict or which interferes with the High Court verdict and claims that it has erred, the High Court has erred in its judgment, that is a dangerous precedent that would be probably set for the legal system. How would that turn out to play? Just help us understand that.
Well, Shreya, the Supreme Court and a lot of judges here in the top court often say that they are not going to be moved by public sentiment, that if there are protests happening on the streets, that's not going to determine what happens inside the court, because it's only the rule of law that is functional inside the court, and the court will only decide on the basis of the law and nothing else. No public sentiment, no emotion, no outrage is going to sway the court. But there is another very important principle that the Supreme Court works by, which is that justice should not only be done, but it should be seen to be done. So in a case like this, where there is the public authority figure who has been entrusted with the trust of the people, is in a position of authority, enjoys a lot of muscle and money power, as has been clearly stated by the CBI in its appeal, when that person is let go on a mere technicality, the question that becomes is has justice been seen to be done in such a case where, because of the definition of public servant, a life sentence given in a sensitive case like POCSO has been done away with? So that is a question I can't answer, of course. It's something that the Supreme Court will have to answer, and which is what everybody is expecting to wait and watch out for. But a very important thing to note over here is the reason why whatever happens today in the Supreme Court is important is, and a lot of lawyers will tell you this, is because a case is usually seen to be won or lost in what happens in the interim. For example, this Delhi High Court judgment has also come as an interim measure only during the time that the conviction against the appeal is pending. Now, we all know the Indian justice system. We all know how many years a case can actually drag on for before a final judgment in the case has come. So we don't know how long it'll take for the Delhi High Court to actually hear the appeal in its entirety and then decide what needs to happen with the conviction, which is why it's so crucial what happens in the interim. What happens in the time being? Is the person allowed to be free? Is he allowed to continue behind the bars? Is what makes the lawyer win or lose, essentially, in effect, the entire case. Which is why it's so crucial what happens today before the Supreme Court, because it's important for the Supreme Court to step in at the very outset and stay this judgment to ensure that a right message is sent across to the society, that the objective of the POCSO Act, like Anisha also stated, which is protection of the victim, protection of the vulnerable sections of the society, is something that is essentially fulfilled by the court of law. So which is why we'll have to wait and see whether or not a stay will be granted. Of course, this is a matter that will ultimately be decided by the High Court and then ultimately land up in the Supreme Court once again. Because irrespective of whether Kuldeep Singh Sengar wins before the Delhi High Court or the CBI, the other party is going to ultimately end up approaching the Supreme Court in appeal. But what happens today is going to be very crucial to decide what the flow of the case and what the chain of events leading to the final hearing in the case are essentially going to be, and who wins in the interim is something that we are watching out to see what happens before the Supreme Court today.